Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It is me, Rich, and I'm back with Kev after a phenomenal night at the King Power Stadium where Aston Villa beat Leicester 2-1. Unfortunately we couldn't do a live one today just with work and travel, but we couldn't not do a show to react to last night's game. So yeah, we were there, Kev. What a night!
What a night! What a night! Early April in 2023. Well, a special time to be an Aston Villa fan for me. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I still can't get my hat on. To be talking after the start of the season that we had. We were at was it start of November, end of October when Gerrard was let go. We were joint 18th, joint in the relegation spots, just out of it on goal difference. And only literally like 2 or 3 points off the bottom. Admittedly, like there's not been that many games played, but there've been quite a few. Was it like 8 or 9 games, maybe?
Yeah, I
So,
think it was 9 games in. Yeah.
so to go from that to be in a situation where like we're and also after being 11th for like 43 years, was it 11 game weeks we were 11th for? To then go from that to then, to oh god, Chelsea be a big game. We won that. Or Leicester away, they're not a bad side, Leicester. 7th in the league. Like we're looking at. I mean, I didn't see it, but I've seen like Twitter going berserk saying apparently Sky were talking about us for the top 4 race. I'm like, wake me up, I'm dreaming. I mean, even if you don't get in it, to be discussed in April that Villa might be a sneaky outside bet for the top 4. I mean, it's unbelievably unlikely to happen, but
Yeah.
to even get referenced as like a little mini percentage of it, fantastic.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I keep referencing back, and I know we were speaking about yesterday about I was on that Newcastle podcast with the Loaded Mag boys about the Battleground Europe, where they had various fan channels on, and I was almost getting ridiculed by the Tottenham and the randomly the West Ham fan on there. West Ham fan was a bit more tongue in cheek, but the Tottenham fan was like, what are you doing on here, like Aston Villa? And I was like, well, we're 4 points at that point. We were 4 points off sixth, and we were. I think we had a game in hand, and we'd won 3 out of 4 or 4, whatever it was at that time, or 3 matches in a row. And I was like, I said, I don't know if we'll do it, but we're certainly in the conversation. And then lo and behold, we beat Chelsea, we beat Leicester, and we're sitting in 7th. And like I keep going back to that. I keep going back to that where he was like, there is no way that Villa will finish in the European spots. And look, we might not do it. It's probably looking it's still gonna be tough, right? But we are certainly in the mix now.
Yeah, well, you can't absolutely for 1 second say that. It just, we're talking Europa League, Europa Conference, the Conference League. We are absolutely there or thereabouts in terms of the conversation now. Yeah, teams have got games in hand around us, a few teams, but it just like the relegation battle, it's changing each game week now, which is each match. God, I've got that wrong. It's changing each night. Because last night, obviously when Leicester equalised, we were up in 7th when we scored. We're then back down to 9th. Then if Chelsea had got a goal or Liverpool had got a goal, they would have the situation changed. We were hoping for a Brighton sort of like slipping up at Bournemouth, these positions now, because this is the thing that gets often overlooked by most of the national press. And we were frustrated for months at still being 11th. But we were just basically working so hard as a team, getting those results to keep ourselves on the coattails. So when, you almost get into that final furlong, you're in the pack. And
You're in the pack and you're beating those teams that are there around you, like the Chelseas. And then we've got those other games coming up soon. But yeah, let's get on to the game last night. I mean, we'll talk, the actual game, the goals. We'll talk the moments in the game. We'll talk also a shout out to the atmosphere from the fans as well. We'll talk that as well. But before that, obviously, I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't promoting the channel. So please smash the like button. Please do hit the subscribe button. We're so close to 1,200. So please do hit the subscribe button. And we had record views of our last match reaction to Chelsea. So it'd be great to get some really high views and great to get over 100 likes again. So if we could do that, that'd be brilliant. And yeah, it's just obviously just brilliant to react to wins. So yeah, let's get into it, Kev. Starting lineup. Couple of changes was there. I'm just trying to think. Bailey. Sorry.
Kamara came out, didn't he? Kamara
came out and obviously wasn't on the bench. So seems like his injury is a little bit more serious than kind of first thought against Chelsea. But yeah, slight move around in midfield. But were you surprised by the starting lineup in any way?
I don't know if I was fully surprised. I mean, it seems to be. Look, we've said it. I think in a previous pod that it's been great lately that we've not actually missed Kamara when obviously McGinn's been playing a bit deeper. I think the question marks are always over whether Bailey would get a game. Whether you'd have another situation where maybe you'd play McGinn there and potentially bring in a Dendoncker or a Chambers into midfield. But I think he clearly wanted the option of Bailey's pace, didn't he? When you're doing counter attacking, and obviously there's always a question around whether Duran should come in, but. So Bailey was maybe probably the only surprise for me. With Coutinho being out, that Coutinho Buendia question's answered. With Cash being out, Young's in. So, and obviously, I don't think Dendoncker is getting ahead of Luiz, for example. So, and Chambers is certainly behind Mings and Konza, and obviously Carlos is still making his way back to form. So, just Bailey really for me, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And start of the game, I think it was kind of typical Villa. It was. Controlled possession. I was actually surprised at the fact that Leicester didn't come out and try and hit us early.
Yeah. I think that if you're a team in the sort of situation they are, you game under the lights. It's an opportunity, fast start. Like we've done a hell of a lot at home this season to put a little bit of a puncher in our in our tire, and slow us down. And they didn't really. I think we controlled the tempo of pretty much the entire game. Really, they had a little bit of a spell, didn't they? Obviously, when they
But yeah, I thought he brought Vardy back in, try and get that bit of nostalgia back, and try and harry our defenders. But I saw a stat that he touched the ball 14 times in his 76 minutes on the pitch. So it was clear that Vardy experiment didn't work. And I was just expecting, like, especially there when they played us at our place. I know we gifted them their goals, but that and Tielemans probably makes a big difference. But that Maddison, Iheanacho, Tete, and Barnes, that front four tore us to shreds at times at home, and it was only Barnes who really showed anything yesterday. I didn't see much from Maddison either.
Nah, a couple of touches here or there, a couple of half turns, but yeah, I wasn't that impressed at all, really. I did some sort of a bit of research before this pod, and even when you look back on the entirety of Emery's era, the only loss in a game you'd say would be probably like surprising is that Leicester loss at home. We're talking 16 games in charge now. We've won 10 of them. We lost to Liverpool at home, obviously early on in his reign. And Liverpool on the day, they beat Man United 7-0. They are obviously highly inconsistent this season, but still clearly are a quality team. We lost to Man City away. I mean, I still say we won the second half 1-0. To the league leaders at home when we were writing the game up until the last minute. The only blot on our copybook really is that Leicester loss at home, with draws at home to Wolves and away to West Ham. We've beaten Man United at home, Brighton away, Spurs away, Leeds at home, Saints away, Everton away, Palace at home, Bournemouth at home, Chelsea away, Leicester away. I mean, and we were 18th, joint 18th in the league when he took over.
I can sense the awe in your voice there. You just can't believe it.
I can't, and it's the way that it's not like not like we're having like shot after shot after shot after shot, but we seem fairly untroubled.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, it's just night and day. I mean, we'll get into kind of players and a little bit of tactics and stuff. We'll obviously got a talking tactics coming up this week as well. Obviously, with the quick turnaround, we couldn't do the Chelsea game and then the Forest game, so we'll probably do a 2-in-1. And it's obviously great to talk about 2 victories. So, but yeah, we'll talk players and stuff as well in a bit, Kev. But yeah, I mean, look, we can't. The superlatives are it's just crazy. And but obviously, just getting us settled into the game, and it was clear that we had controlled possession. It was clear that we were kind of spreading the play quite well, and Moreno was getting forward quite well. Buendia and McGinn were finding those little bit spaces. Ramsey and Bailey were a bit quiet certainly for those first 20 minutes, but that key moment, where we're waiting for that space to open up. Key moment, Konsa ball into Buendia, beautiful through ball to Watkins, and then a man in absolutely top form finishes.
Well, actually, there was a little flick around the corner, wasn't there? Well, not around the corner, like a little flick up from Louise. The ball went into Douglas Louise.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
He did a little. I mean, it was probably a fairly risky move. It doesn't come off because it went fairly close to the player, but like literally just the first time dink basically into Buendia. He controlled it. His first assist of the season, as we discussed last night at the game. And Watkins does what Watkins does, which is score away. He's the last person to score in 6 consecutive away games. You know that was?
I do, mate. I do. Sergio Aguero for Man City in 2017.
Yeah, so it's 6 years. I mean, it's some form, isn't it? And he's breaking all sorts of records,
Yeah, yeah. And you made a key point to your lad who was at the game. Obviously, we were chatting. You made a key point about what he did in the build up to that goal, like as he was controlling the ball.
Yeah, well, it's just the way he basically gets his body in the way and protects the ball. I mean, my lad went to his first away game last night, as you know, but anyone watching this, and Villa, thanks so much for that, because he could have gone a lot. First memory to get an 87th minute winner, which we'll come on to, is obviously incredible memories for him. Standing on the seat, singing all the songs. Jamie Vardy's wife is a what? No, we don't.
Yeah.
You don't sing that one. You don't sing that one, son. But I've been saying to him in his own football consistently. I mean, he played a game last weekend and had the ball, and someone just ran from behind him. He's probably a bit quicker and just took it off him. And I said, if you've got your body in the way, protected the ball, you're at least going to get a penalty or a free kick. And if you look at the odds of him getting that, if you looked at whatever percentage XG in that situation, the word of the moment XG, like he had 2 defenders coming on him, he had a goalkeeper, and he still managed to look after the ball and then get his foot to it and took it away. I mean, it was a fantastic goal, particularly from the move, obviously from the back, straight through the middle, cutting through the lines. And Leicester played deep last night. They at times they were at home like a 5-4-1.
Yeah, they were literally just damage limitation, weren't they?
So to cut through that, which was again always something that we struggled with.
Yeah,
and it's another one of the curses slayed. I said this to you during the game. The third kick curse. Emery's cut that one through. Grim Reaper that one. We don't win away from home. We didn't win it all season. Well, we've won like nearly every away game, pretty much. That we've played, other than West Ham and Man City, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
We don't win in the third kit. Well, we've done that a couple of times now. And I said to you last night, we never beat 10 men, do we?
No.
West Ham a couple of years back under Smith. Earlier in the season, obviously, we played Leeds against 10 men. 10 men last night. What happened? Another curse. Emery
and Buendia assist. A Buendia assist as well.
Assist doesn't happen as well.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Obviously, before that, the drama of the second half, Leicester did threaten a couple of times. Obviously, Suter had a free header that I think hit the post, and that was, I think, before our goal. And then, to be fair, a really, really good goal from Harvey Barnes. Long raking ball from, I think it was Fayers at the back, which we probably should have cut out. We should have put a bit more pressure on him. But wonderful control and pace from Barnes, and just a great finish.
Well, that's another thing I was telling to my lad. Was that first touch from Barnes is the reason he gets the goal. I mean, he's got electric pace, but the first touch away from you, and once he's away from him, worst case scenario, he's getting a free kick on the edge of the box or maybe a penalty. But once he's in, an unerring finish, powerful into the corner. That's the kind of player Barnes. I mean, I know he's I don't think his stats are great otherwise. I saw Gareth from our pod, I think it was, put a tweet out earlier. But well, it might not be Gareth, but I saw some stats earlier that were put out there saying apparently like a lot of his other stats in terms of sort of ball retention and completed passes such aren't great. But when I see him doing that, I think, my God, if we had him on our wing ahead of maybe some of the other options. Or a winger that is just a bit more electric and can do something like that, we'd be an unbelievably potent force attacking.
Yeah, I think he'll be up for grabs at the end of the season, and he's definitely one to consider. But yeah, if a little bit as we've talked about with wingers, inconsistent. But he did his job in that situation. But otherwise, Ashley Young did a fantastic job on him for the rest of the game. And we still talk about a 37-year-old. I don't even want to bring his age into it because he's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got to expect as well. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you're a 22-year-old. I don't care if you're Reece James, or Carl Walker. You come up against Harvey Barnes. Maybe once in the game he's going to get past you. I think this is sometimes we have a situation where this is football fans for you, isn't it? But look at the relegation battle right now. No one's allowed to be in trouble. Let's just get rid of all the managers and
I know.
Everyone's got to stay up, have they? That's how it feels like people think about it. Ashley Young got beaten once by Barnes. Well, you can't get 100% of everything right. And he could have held off a little bit, but sometimes you get caught out by a great ball and a bit of pace and a great finish. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, 100%, mate. We managed to get to half time, 1-1. I know Leicester did have a little bit of a spell, but other than that, we survived pretty well for the rest of the game, for the rest of that half, and then second half again, you're expecting Leicester to come out at us and really push, but didn't really transpire that they did. It was just again more of the same, and one or two half chances for us. And then the kind of key moment on the 70th minute, Dewsbury Hall had already made a rash challenge earlier on, got a yellow card, and then again you're tackling someone like Ashley Young late. He's going to make sure that situation goes to our advantage, isn't he? And ultimately got a second yellow.
Yeah, the last thing you need from a Leicester perspective, but the absolute thing you do need from a Villa perspective is a sending off when the game's nicely poised at 1-1. You touched on it there, but if I was a Leicester fan, I'd be absolutely so annoyed at their second half response, because you'd think they got the goal back. Second half, when you win that game last night, Leicester, and you absolutely fly up the league. It would have been a huge win for them. I know they're against an informed Villa team; it wasn't going to be easy, but it would have took them to 14th in the league. So, still, it's not all game over for them, but to get that response in the second half from the players, I think that was really, really surprising. But obviously, a great tonic for Aston Villa in terms of what went on to do. To then get that compounded by a sending off, well, there was only going to be one team I thought was going to win it really before that sending off. So to then have that to happen, then the question was, you've got what minute was it in? 70th minute, something like that?
Yeah, 70th minute, he got sent off.
You've got 25 minutes maybe. Villa, can you do what you don't normally do? Can you break down 10 men and get a winner?
Yeah, exactly. And that's I was always quite confident that we would. We were still very measured, but I think the changes that Emery made, and this is kind of the key thing with Emery, he's made changes at half time. He's made, tactical switches where he's changed formation. But what he did yesterday was, brought Duran on to be an extra body up front that's going to, because essentially when you're playing against 10 men, they're just going to put everyone behind the ball. That's what happens. And these days, teams are extremely difficult to break down. It doesn't matter what level they're at. And our play is generally quite, measured and quite slow. But what you're waiting for is a bounce ball, a second ball, a misplaced pass, something that's going to be out of the ordinary, and bringing someone like a Duran on, and then ultimately a Bertrand Traore on, is going to do something that's the unpredictable. And what can you say?
Out of absolutely nowhere. They were lucky actually, because there was a pass thing earlier on that. So who was it who gave the ball away for the goal?
Ndidi.
I think it was. Was it Mendy before?
Mendy made it like a silly pass, that went up in the air. Yeah.
And then we got it, and then Ndidi then just rolls it to his left. I don't know if he miscontrolled it.
Well, I think the left back, is either Barnes or whoever's playing at left back, made a run, and he thought the ball was going to go in front, but indeed he played it as if he was playing it to his feet. But obviously Traore was there, and the rest, as they say, is history.
It's just pure instinct from him, but he's got that. And I saw someone else put another tweet out, saying the difference between Traore and Bailey is is I can't think of any real moments of magic that Bailey's done where you can think of a few examples with Traore, can't you? Quite a few examples.
Yeah, it's just that, obviously Bailey scored some good goals, but we 100%, not obviously we can't know for certain, but in that situation, I don't know any other player in that Villa side that would have had the balls to just hit it like that. Like
maybe
just
McGinn.
Yeah, maybe, but he's been on for 5 minutes, had he, or something like that?
He's been on for 2 minutes.
Yeah, and
he came on.
He just does that straight away. It's like, Bailey would have potentially had a touch, or any other player would have probably had a touch, or Ramsey. We were talking about him trying to drive into the box like he was doing before, but instead he was laying it off when he had space to run into. You could see the other players in that position making a different choice, whereas he had just the instinct just to hit it. And I mean, the scenes in the away end were just unreal.
Oh, it was absolute magic. I mean, I say a lot when I play football myself. Like, sometimes you got to buy a ticket. You buy a ticket, you might win the raffle every now and then. And no, don't get me wrong, I sometimes shoot a bit too much. But if Traore doesn't have that shot there, and you try, you can't keep being too meticulous. At times, you got to have a shot. It might come off the keeper, or it might fly in the top corner, basically. And the absolute limbs. I mean, I could not have written a better first game for my boy to go to. He's 8 years old. He's staying up extra late to go to the game. It gets even better for him because you got a McDonald's at the end of the game because obviously, as you know, the Wi-Fi was down in the ground, so you couldn't get any food or drinks in the ground. I mean, that chant, by the way, going down with the Wi-Fi, it was genius. But we get a goal, they get one back. It's nicely poised. I'm thinking, come on, Villa, get a winner for him. Give him this memory of his life. I know how I felt about it. I know how you felt about it because we were on top, like jumping on top of each other. Imagine being 8 years old, like getting swamped by all these men. It was just...
You'll think that's what it's like every time,
Of course he will.
I mean, my son's first away game was Newcastle this season, and we lost 4-0. Yeah.
Well, my first ever Villa game was 1990. I was 9 years old, and we beat Port Vale 6-0 in the FA Cup, fourth round. So I thought it was going to be like that every week.
There you go.
But just a magic moment. And then the scenes at the end were obviously, we've won the game. Traore, they come over to where the AOA fans are. We're all singing, "Oh, Bertrand Traore." Then the players join in and start singing it as well. Look, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. You don't want to have that. Remember that famous picture away at Southampton when we were top of the league under John Gregory? Yeah, let's not get too carried away. But if you can't enjoy moments like this, and this is almost, for me, like it's a bit similar to that championship run we went on. Where you start to...
It had that vibe. It had that vibe about it.
Build momentum. Who knows what's going to happen? But we don't want this bubble to get burst. But we are huge favourites for that game against Forest. I mean, Cooper's just been given the dreaded vote of confidence from the chairman of Forest. They're not great on the road. I mean, we don't want to be complacent, and I'm sure Emery will get them set up to do a professional performance. But we should be beating a Nottingham Forest, and then it's, my God, what a game we've got against Newcastle. What a game! And I still, we've got to look at this now and think that there's everything to play for. I mean, they could easily, Newcastle, lose to West Ham tonight. Maybe they won't with the form they're in, but and then all of a sudden they got Brentford away and they got us. And I'm thinking, the games aren't easy for them either, everyone's got tricky games, and we've got to play all the teams around us. We've got Brentford, Brighton, Liverpool,
Tottenham.
By the way, can we just take a moment, Richard, to talk about this, right? Well, we're in early April. Yeah, I know there was a World Cup break, so it's maybe more like early March, but we are ahead of Liverpool and Chelsea in the league.
I know. It pinches out, and it's not... We're actually like 4 points ahead of Chelsea. Like, it's not like... You're not like, goal difference or something. It's like
5 points.
There's 5 points. There's distance there. Honestly, it's just brilliant to be on this run. And you hit the nail on the head earlier. It's like we picked up those wins. We stayed in 11th. We kept chipping away, and then you continue those wins. You beat a Chelsea. You beat obviously a Leicester, or you draw against the West Ham. You just keep chipping away, and then ultimately, that one or two of those teams drop points, like a Fulham against the Bournemouth, and all of a sudden you're above them, and that's how it works. That's obviously everyone knows how a league works, but it works just by looking after yourself, like winning your own games, just continually, just being consistent.
And And also, it's not just that we're ahead of Liverpool and Chelsea, and as we say, 5 points ahead of Chelsea. But I'm also looking at the game tonight, Man United Brentford, and I'm thinking, do you know what? Could do with Man United getting a draw tonight, or Man, or Man United Brentford drawing tonight. Keep us. We're not that far away from Man United. I mean, I know they've got 2 games in under us, but we beat Forest, 47 points. All of a sudden, Newcastle, Tottenham, and Man United would be 3 points ahead of us, and admittedly they could all win their games, but you get within striking distance. I'm not saying we're going to finish 4th. I think that's way, way, way above our stations, But the more points you've got, the more chance you've got of trying to get 5th, 6th, maybe 7th, hopefully 9th.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a general word on the fans and the atmosphere last night. I mean, it's one of those sort of bowl stadiums, isn't it? So when the crowd does get going, it does stay in, and it creates a great atmosphere. But the singing was just incredible, wasn't it, last night? And the away support with Villa, I don't think there's any more superlatives or more words of praise you can give it. It was just amazing.
Yeah, fantastic support as always. I mean, and that's the thing as well. Like for my lad to experience, he's like, I think I like it better away. He said to me, "Is it okay?" He said to me in the car, he said, "Is it okay to say this, Dad?" I was like, "Why?" He went, "I think I prefer it away from home." I was like, "Why?" Because obviously the singing and like the atmosphere, and clearly when you're in a good vein of form in the league, and this run under Emery, this juggernaut that's got going now. It's always going to be a better situation than probably, at the depths of that season when, we had Rudy Gestede and Nathan Baker, and, we were trying to cling on to our Premier League hopes. Probably didn't enjoy going to away games then.
No.
Or under Steven Gerrard. I mean, we went to one famous semi-famous picture on Twitter. We put out Forest where me and you were looking at each other kind of like, what?
Yeah, just the glummest faces. Yeah.
So, but to top it off with, there's nothing better than a late win away from home. I think it's the first time I've been to an away game where we've had a late win. I've been to quite a few away games, but where you've had that kind of like absolute limbs in the away end, going mental. Like, it was just absolute magic, mate, wasn't it? And you know what's great as well? Like, to know that we've gone to another ground where, I think recent form, they've not been amazing against us, but we've had some hidings from Leicester. We got beat 4-2.
The game before the lockdown, wasn't it? The game before, we lost 4-0. We absolutely played off the park. So,
a bit 4-1 at home not long before that as well, I remember.
Yeah. So
big win.
Great performance. Great solid performance. Any players that we haven't mentioned that you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, I do. I honestly think defensively, again, we were really sound. I think Konsa and Mings, you can't fault them. Maybe the Leicester didn't put too much pressure on them, but I thought both of them were good. I thought, I think their passing's got better. This was something that we used to talk about a hell of a lot on pods going back a year and a half. Is where you play the pass to the player, and I don't notice it as much now. There was one pass last night. I think Young played. We kind of scuffed it, went behind Mings, and he had to stop and go back to get it. And I thought that's not normal. So I thought they were great. I thought Moreno did really well.
Yeah,
I thought Moreno did really well.
Praising Moreno. Yeah,
good outlet, and a couple of times actually where I think he maybe could have had slightly better delivery.
Yes, and he had a shot as well. Maybe I'd like us to be I would have liked us to have been a little bit more ruthless in terms of our shooting.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I can't fault. And Mings and Konsa, I think we said it on the Chelsea reaction. Mings, Konsa, Martinez, that kind of triangle at the back is just so solid, and it's so important to have that regular back. Obviously, a regular back five, but particularly the centre half pairing and the goalkeeper, because the relationships that they build together, particularly the way that Emery plays, is just so important. And yeah, I mean, at the moment, like, even though he's not the captain, he's such a leader, Mings. It's just
he is.
I always say this, like, I remember like mid-90s, like Colin Hendry for Blackburn. Just every ball that went in the box, that blonde hair would just win every header, like without a doubt. And it's almost like Mings is like our version of that. He's just every ball that goes into boxes wins the header. You
know what? Yeah, I mean, for a more probably like Villa fitting one, he's like Martin Larsson was like that, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Martin Larsson, I think would just get mopped up and. Yeah, I thought they were great. I think McGinn was brilliant again. I thought McGinn was arguably man of the match. I thought he was just like, he's used to the ball. He's You know, I just think he really, I know we've said this a lot lately, but looks back to his old again, like twisted and turning, retaining the ball really well. I think I saw him give the ball away last night. So maybe one occasion. I just think you can see that he's playing with a lot of confidence. And I think that is from the captain, certainly as well, that is certainly going through the team. And it all starts from there, doesn't it? So I'm just, you know, there are things you could pick apart with it. You know, we were probably a little bit profligate in front of goal. You know, Moreno probably should have got that one on target. There was a time when I think he hit the post when he really should have squared it to someone. But you can't argue about a 2-1 away win at Leicester that takes you 7th. You just cannot.
No.
And by the way, Watkins, 6 away games in a row. We mentioned that. Fantastic. You know, the
eight goals in 10, I think, or something like that.
Unbelievable stats, really.
Yeah.
Villa, 3rd in the league. You know, since Emery came in, I think we'd be level with Man City, maybe. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, that's what I said earlier. Played 16 games, right? Away, we've only we drew West Ham and we lost to Man City. That's it. We've won all the other away games.
Yeah. Well, look, the stats are there for everyone to see, and we are starting to get noticed by the pundits and other clubs, which is a blessing and a curse, you know, in equal measure. But all we can do, as I said before, is concentrate on ourselves. We've got Forest to come on Saturday. You know, a game like you said, Kev, we should be winning. We'll obviously be back to preview that this week. And Talking Tactics will be back as well at some point this week. So lots of content to come. I think that'll do us, Kev, to be fair, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Great.
It's exciting times, mate. Forest, Newcastle, Brentford, Fulham, and then Man United. That's our run. All teams in and around us. So crunch time now, Villa fans. Strap yourselves in.
100%. Make sure you do hit the like button. As I said before, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in. Obviously, no live comments today, so get your comments in. We'll try our best to answer all of them. You know, man of the match for you guys. Who's really impressing? What did you see in the performance that we might be able to improve? You know, what did you think of the atmosphere? And what do you think of this general run? You know, so many things to comment on, so many things to be happy about as a Villa fan. You know, massive week one. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be brilliant. It's great to be in the mix. Thank you for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.